Welcome to A Narrated Discovery, the channel where we wander slowly, listen deeply, and explore the world's hidden beauty, one country at a time. Today we travel to Botswana, a landlocked nation in southern Africa, bordered by South Africa, Namibia, Zambia, and Zimbabwe. Much of its land is taken up by the wild Kalahari Desert and the water-woven Okavango Delta, a land of contrasts, where vast salt pans shimmer beneath the sun, and lush grasslands pulse with the footfalls of elephants and antelope. Botswana is home to just over 2.5 million people. The majority identify as Christian, often blending faith with older indigenous beliefs, while small communities follow traditional African religions, Islam, Hinduism, and others. Here, spiritual life is felt in every sunrise and the hush of the savanna at dusk. Settle in, breathe deep, and join us as we wander slowly across the grasslands, through desert and delta, seeking the quiet spirit of Botswana. Imagine yourself standing at the edge of the Okavango Delta, in the gentle blue hush before dawn. The air is cool and smells faintly of reeds and dust. In the near distance, waterbirds begin their morning chorus. The deep call of a fish eagle, the chatter of francolins, the soft whistle of teals and jacanas flitting between lily pads. Mist curls from the water, catching the first gold of day as it stretches itself across endless sky. You walk barefoot through dew-wet grass, the ground soft and alive beneath your feet. Each step sends tiny frogs leaping and dragonflies spinning in the pale light. A slow current snakes through stands of papyrus, carrying the promise of life where desert and river meet. Nearby, a family of elephants shuffles quietly through the reeds, their gray backs shadowed and immense, their trunks raised to taste the air. You pause to watch, heart quiet, the silence holding something sacred. The world stirs slowly. A mokoro, the slender dugout canoe of the delta, slips through the water, pulled by a man whose silhouette is as easy as the morning breeze. You greet him, and he answers with a smile, inviting you aboard. You glide together over water so clear you can see the trails of tiny fish and the brush of lilies beneath the surface. The air grows warmer, scented now with wild sage, wet earth, and a hint of smoke from distant cooking fires. You drift through narrow channels, passing islands where lechwe antelope graze and hippos snort from cool pools. The mokoro's wooden hull moves without sound, and time seems to lengthen and slow, caught in the rhythm of paddle and ripple. Along the banks, crocodiles bask in the sun, eyes half closed, ancient and unmoving. In the tall grass, a malachite kingfisher flashes like a scrap of sky, vanishing almost as soon as you glimpse it. The man pulling the mokoro tells you stories in a soft, melodic voice. He speaks of floods and droughts, of the first rains, and the long, dry months when the river withdraws, leaving cracked earth behind. He points out the tracks of lions in the mud, the trail where a herd of buffalo passed in the night, the spot where fish eagles nest each season. Every gesture, every word, is woven into the living memory of the delta. You land at a small island, stepping out onto ground that smells of water and sun. A campfire smolders nearby, and you're welcomed by women preparing breakfast, pap, a soft maize porridge, fried fish caught just hours before, slices of sweet melon and baobab fruit. The meal is shared on a woven mat in the shade, and every taste seems brighter, more alive, here beneath the open sky. After breakfast, you follow a footpath winding between palms and fig trees, beneath the high call of hornbills. Children run ahead, their laughter mingling with the chatter of vervet monkeys in the branches. A woman teaches you to weave baskets from mokolwan palm leaves, her hands quick and sure, her stories full of humor and wisdom. She sings as she works, her voice rising and falling like the wind through the reeds. The sun climbs higher, sharpening the blue of the sky. You rest beneath a marula tree, watching as cattle drift across the grassland, each bell a soft, bright note in the hush of midday. An elder sits beside you, carving a walking stick from mopan wood, telling stories of ancestors and the spirits that watch over land and water. When the heat of the day wanes, you make your way north, out of the delta and onto the open savanna. The grass ripples in gold and pale green, dotted with acacia and umbrella thorn. Herds of zebra move like shadows along the horizon, their stripes flickering in the sun. Giraffes stretch their necks to nibble at the highest leaves, and warthogs scurry through the grass, tails raised in comic salute. You reach the edge of the Magadi-Gati salt pans, a vast, blinding white that shimmers beneath the sky. Once an ancient lake, the pans now spread out like a mirage, interrupted only by rocky islands and scattered palms. Flamingos gather in pink clouds at the water's edge during the wet season, and you watch them take flight, their wings flickering in the reflected light. The land here is silent, immense, and strangely beautiful, a place where you can hear your own breath, where the world feels newly made. At a village on the pan's edge, you're welcomed with open hands. Houses of mud and thatch circle a dusty square shaded by acacia trees. Children play with wire cars and marbles. Elders sit in the shade, weaving tales as long as the afternoon. You share a meal of seswa, slow-cooked beef, rich and tender, eaten with maize and pumpkin. The laughter around the fire is gentle, the night air filled with the scent of dust and wood smoke. Stories are told beneath the stars, of creation and trickster hares, of hunters and lost herds, of the rain that brings life and the drought that takes it away. You sleep on a woven mat, listening to the far-off roar of lions and the rustle of wind through dry grass. You rise before dawn, following the call of a pied crow as the sky lightens from black to indigo. The savanna wakes slowly. Guinea fowl scuttle in flocks, and the first antelope drift through the mist. You walk with a young herder, his stick tapping out a quiet rhythm, his stories as old as the land itself. He shows you the tracks of kudu and wild dog, the spoor of elephants that passed in the night. The road leads west, toward the sands of the Kalahari. Here, the world is stripped down to essentials: sand, sky, wind, and the quiet endurance of those who live here. You meet a family of San Bushmen, the original people of the land. They greet you with shy smiles, inviting you to join their small fire beneath a camelthorn tree. Together, you learn to dig for roots, to find water in the dry riverbeds, to listen for the sound of insects beneath the sand. Their language clicks and flows, each word part of a story, a memory, a lesson. You watch as they make arrows from reed and bone, as they paint the shapes of antelope on the wall of a shallow cave, as they dance around the fire in a circle older than time. The stars spill across the sky, more than you have ever seen, each one a story, a song, a spirit returning home. Morning comes again, and with it, the cool hush before the day's heat. You travel through Mopane woodland, where elephants browse quietly, their ears flapping in the dust. You share tea with a farmer beneath a thatch awning, talking of crops and cattle, of hope and the always uncertain promise of rain. You follow the river north toward Chobe, where the land swells with water once more. Herds of buffalo move through tall reeds, and the air vibrates with the calls of bee-eaters and kingfishers. You drift on a boat along the Chobe River at sunset, watching as elephants wade into the shallows, their calves playing in the golden light. Hippos surface with grunts, and crocodiles slide soundlessly into the water. On the riverbank, you join a small gathering for sundowners. Cold ginger beer and fat cakes, warm from the fire. Laughter drifts over the water, and for a moment the world feels at peace. The sky turning rose and indigo, the first stars flickering to life. Here boundaries fade. River and land, day and night, people and the wild heart of Botswana. You visit Kasane, a town where languages mingle. Setswana, English, Kalanga, Lozi, and more. And markets overflow with baskets, beadwork, and bright printed cloth. A woman shows you how to stamp patterns into leather, her hands steady and sure. Nearby, a storyteller gathers a crowd of children and elders alike, his tales full of wisdom and mischief, his voice rising and falling with the night wind. During a festival, the whole village comes alive with music, drums, and dance. Men leap and stamp, women move with swirling skirts, and everyone joins the circle, guest and host, young and old, carried by the beat of the drum and the deep, old joy of belonging. Food is shared, rain is prayed for, and hope shimmers in every voice. You make your way south again, the horizon wide and open. The road leads through villages where goats wander the streets and jacaranda trees bloom purple in the spring. You spend a day at a school where children sing the anthem in crisp voices and play soccer on dusty fields. Their teacher invites you to share in a lesson, stories of animals and rain, riddles and laughter, small moments that root you in this place. You visit Gaborone, the bustling capital, nestled at the foot of Kajali Hill. The city is alive with the hum of commerce, the clatter of markets, the rhythm of minibus taxis weaving between new glass buildings and old colonial homes. You walk through the main mall, greeted by vendors selling peanuts and biltong, bright fruit and fat cakes. Women in patterned dresses trade greetings in Setswana and English, their smiles as bright as the morning sun. At the National Museum, you learn of Botswana's path, of the struggle for independence, the discovery of diamonds, and the long work of building a nation rooted in peace, tolerance, and democracy. The walls are hung with paintings and photographs, baskets woven by master hands, the stories of heroes and everyday people alike. You climb Kajali Hill in the cool of evening, the city spreading out below in a patchwork of lights and trees. From the summit, you watch the sun sink low, flaming orange and gold, before night wraps the land in a deep, familiar hush. In the distance, the calls of crickets and nightjars rise, and the city breathes quietly beneath the stars. You spend your last days returning to the wild, the quiet trails of the Tule block, where leopards slip through shadowed bush, the Makgadigadi again, where zebra migrate in vast herds across silver grass. You watch a herd of wildebeest gather at a pan, dust swirling around their hooves, the air alive with the hope of rain. Each moment here is thick with wonder, with gratitude for the world as it is. In a remote village, you join in the harvest of sorghum and millet. The rhythm of sickles and laughter fills the fields as baskets are filled and carried home. Food is prepared together: porridge, stews, roast game, rich with spice and the memory of sun. Elders bless the meal, children sneak extra helpings, and the evening ends with stories around the fire. On your last morning, you walk out onto the savannah as the sky begins to pale. The air is cool, alive with the promise of another day. You say your goodbyes to friends made along the way, to the land itself, to the river and the road and the hush of the wind through grass. As our narrated discovery of Botswana comes to a close, we hope this journey has brought you peace, awe, and a sense of wonder. If you enjoyed exploring with us, please consider subscribing for more poetic journeys to the world's hidden places. Leave a comment if you have thoughts, suggestions, or a country you'd love us to visit next. And if this brought you a moment of stillness, a like would mean the world. Thank you for exploring gently with us. Until next time.